Sending out tweets. Gonna make sure that that's all good and make sure that everything else is as expected. So, hello everyone. This is Chris Ingerson, and it is September 19th, and this is the September 19th TextQuest Devstream. All right. So today we are going to start off doing something that I have been wanting to do for a while, and I just haven't gotten around to it, but now I am. And that is getting a brightness slider implemented into the game. Now, that's for those of you who've never had to adjust the brightness of your monitor. Different monitors have sort of different settings for basically how bright everything seems. So some monitors, an area might seem to be perfectly fine. It might seem well lit. You can see everything, and then on others, it can be super dark. So actually, to show you a good example of this, let's go ahead and do start. Let's do a new game. So the castle level actually has a good representation of a level that's well lit in some areas and is very, very poorly lit in other areas, depending on your monitor. So for my personal monitor, what I probably should do is maximize on play. So for my monitors, this level is pretty well lit. You know, it's not too dark in certain areas. The darkest area by far would be the throne room. And if you're watching on stream, I guess that's the trick. If it looks dark on your monitor, it means that your monitor is darker than my monitor. And I haven't adjusted my monitor to be brighter or anything like that. It's just the factory default settings on this monitor. Oh crap! I forgot about the cutscene. Right. So this room in general is fine for me on this monitor on this computer, but I know that on my laptop this room can be a little dark if I'm playing just from the monitor on my laptop. If my laptop is hooked up to one of my monitors, then it's fine. But if it's the monitor actually built into the laptop, it's actually pretty dark. And you can maybe see right here that the room is fairly dark. Again, on my desktop's monitors, this is not bad. Things are a little bit darker, but there's nothing like totally black. It's not shadowy or blobby or anything like that. It's all like the darkest thing is the carpet, and I can still clearly read everything. I'm not getting perfect detail, like I'm not getting the noise on the carpet, but that's to be expected from dark colors. So having a brightness slider is kind of necessary because there have been instances where I have tried to present TextQuest. Well, not tried. I mean, I did present it, and people had difficulty seeing what I was doing in some areas, particularly in here, because, well, on the monitor that I was using, it was incredibly dark, or more often than not, a projector system, which tends to darken everything. So having a brightness slider that is easily accessible from the options menu, let's go to, I guess that would be under display. So adding it in here somewhere would allow us to have, would allow players to have a better experience. Because if their monitor is darker, then they can crank up the brightness a little bit so that they don't just see pitch black areas, which is always one of the worst things to see in a game, is when you just can't see anything. And not because mechanically you're not supposed to see anything, it's just because your monitor and the level design don't match up well and you need to adjust your darkness or your brightness settings. So we're going to add that. The real question is, where are we going to put it? Because it kind of makes sense to have it. All right, hold on. I got to restart my avatar guy because for some reason my headphones did that once a stream thing they do where they just stop working, and that breaks my avatar. So hold on. Give me a second. All right, there we go. That's a little bit better. I wish I knew I did that. In any case. Oh, right, I stopped playing. So we need to figure out where we're going to put this option, and it's going to be a slider. Um, and we'll need to actually set up a test case for it. Um, although it actually will be pretty funny doing a texture for this. So go ahead and open up Photoshop while we're waiting. Um, so for those who have not seen a standard brightness slider in games before, typically what you get is you get um, a slider that is below an image, and that image has a black background with various levels of gray images in front of it. Normally you'll have two. You'll have like a white image and then a dark gray image. And they'll tell you the most typical phrase is adjust the color or adjust your brightness until the leftmost image is barely visible or is not visible. So the goal there is that you want to try and balance out what things should look like. So this is gonna be interesting. I honestly don't quite know how I'm going to do this. So let's just go ahead and make. I guess you know what? I don't even need a Photoshop image. I was going to do a thing in Photoshop, but I guess it's just as easy for me to make it in the menu itself. So, especially since it's literally just going to be a thing that says image. Let's go ahead and open up our UI, and I'm going to grab our options. So, display options. I would say it makes the most sense to be under display. Oh, I already have one there. I'll go figure. Let's go ahead and revert and then open this up. So currently our display options have resolution, which is obviously the resolution that your screen is running at. The refresh rate, which is less usable, really. I wonder if I should even have the refresh rate, honestly. So the refresh rate is basically how often your monitor refreshes. And Unity can control that to some extent, but it's largely automatic, honestly. But I suppose it doesn't hurt to keep it on there. I prefer to give more options. Well, when you're making these decisions, err on the side of more options for the player. So refresh rate is something that less people will tend to adjust, but it's good to have that there anyway. Frame rate is obviously, how fast. I guess that's not the correct way. How many frames per second do you want your game to run at? And I offer a couple of different locked options. I have, let's see, 30 FPS locked, 60 FPS locked, 120 FPS locked, and then unlimited, which is just however fast your game wants to go. Full screen is whether or not whether or not the game runs at full screen or windowed mode, obviously. And then VSync is if VSync is enabled, which is just something that prevents screen tearing, which is basically when it renders two parts of an image, kind of. That's not actually what it is, but it's easiest to think of it like that. So you get like a weird jagged line through your screen for one frame. In any case, so I don't have a lot of room here for this. Typically, what you'll see is like in these option menus, you'll see a basic section and then maybe an advanced section. But I really don't I don't have any other options right now that need to be crammed in there besides brightness. So I'm not entirely convinced that having an advanced section would be a good idea. Let's go ahead and bump over to graphic options. Let's see what that looks like. Let's turn you off, turn you on. So this has our anti-aliasing type. Actually, funny enough, none of this works right now. The amount of anti-aliasing, the texture quality, which is the resolution of the textures. I probably should actually just call that texture resolution. I probably chose quality because I couldn't fit resolution on there. Anisofiltering is anisotropic filtering. That's how sharp the textures look in the game when viewed from a sharp angle. And shadow distance is how far out shadows will render. And all of those are kind of important for performance reasons. So if you have trouble running the game, then you could like crank down shadow distance and turn down anisotropic filtering, turn down like texture quality. So that's also something that kind of Well, maybe not. I wonder if I could do an advanced here, and then I could move the shadow distance into an advanced section. Um, I suppose that could work. I'm mostly just trying to think of how I can preserve the layout of all of this, because I need to have apply and cancel buttons, and I need to have a label down here that shows what each object does when you hover over it. So actually, let's go ahead and let's show you what these look like in motion. Though keep in mind that the graphics menu does not work entirely right now. I believe that shadow distance and texture resolution does, or texture quality does, but anti-aliasing does not because I currently have that disabled. Wrong thing. Options. And let's go to graphics. Oh, and apparently I also don't have hovering set up for any of these. Go figure. I guess that's probably because I just didn't get the anti-aliasing stuff figured out yet. Let's go ahead and cancel. Let's go to display. So these ones, you can see that we have tooltips. Whenever you hover over something, it'll tell you what it does. So adjust the resolution that text will run at, adjust the frame rate the game will run at, lock lower frame rates to improve performance, stuff like that. So I kind of so the first thing to consider is where does it make sense. I would actually think display options honestly would make more sense than this, but because I mean brightness does have to do with your monitor, and it's not a graphics thing really. It is a display thing. The problem is I don't have anything else I can really do here. um, I mean maybe I could move frame rate because if I move frame rate over to what the heck, go back over to graphics, I would still need to have an advanced thing, but dang it. I could also potentially shrink our fonts here to make room for more things, but I'm not entirely convinced that that would be a good idea either. And then of course the final option would be I actually utilize this scroll bar over here, which is doing nothing right now, and I allow you to scroll. But the problem with that is that I can't move these apply and back buttons. They need to always be present so you know you can click them or type them in and do things. Uh, that is really annoying. Let's go ahead and go back here. What is up with this? I must have the text label going over our back button, I bet. Let's go ahead and stop that. I kind of want to check that because I'm pretty sure that's what's happening. If you noticed, whenever I hovered over the lower part of this back button, it wasn't it wasn't interpreted as hovering over the back button, which makes me think that there's something above it. And typically that means that the label down here is blocking your raycasts. So we're just going to look at that real quick. But yeah, options menus. They're the worst. What could I do? I really don't know why it has to import all of that. All right. So let's see here. Let's turn on our UI. Let's turn off our graphics options. Let's go up here to display. And I'm going to be looking at output label. Yep, there it is. You can see that it's hovering over the back button there. So let's just change its height to 80, 70. What's our size here? I can't really go below 70, I don't think, not comfortably. So I'm also going to go ahead and turn off, let's see, turn off raycast target. And what that does is it should allow our hovering to actually work as expected. Because the way that raycasting for UI works in Unity is you have what's called a graphic raycaster, and that basically uses information from a combination of rect transforms and the actual sprite being rendered to determine when you're hovering over stuff. And in text blocks, it's just using the base rect transform, so it's a bounding box value. But by turning off raycast target, it won't block raycast anymore, so our button should work as expected. So that's a nice quick fix. Frame rate. Man, I don't even need much. I just need a button. I need a button's worth of space. So, all right. Let's go ahead and try to shrink this, I guess. Also, I'm going to go ahead and turn off my scroll bar because you are. Are you serious? Okay. Let's see here. Scroll rect. Let's just give you none. And we'll just turn you off. I don't need you right now. And I don't intend to use it. Ideally, I'll be able to fit everything in one screen that won't require scrolling, because given the way these are set up, scrolling would be very confusing. It would be very hard to indicate that you need to scroll. Okay. So, actually, with that also helps. Well, never mind. I was going to say I could slide this stuff over a little bit more, but I don't really need to, so not really gaining a lot there. Well, maybe besides the resolution, I suppose I could slide that over to make it more in line, but then the numbers don't line up, so dang it. All right, let's see. So if we change this from 48, I don't want to go down to 32. Let's try 38. That looks fine. All right, let's go ahead and do 38. Oh, wow, 38. There we go. And let's see. Previous resolution, I'm guessing these have a width. They do. Let's see, resolution button. You have a preferred height. Can we drop you to 40? Okay. So let's change these buttons to be 40 wide. That's good. Good. So overall, I think that actually, let's see, there's the aspect. 24, that's fine. There's the resolution label. Oh, but where's our actual value? Ah, there it is. 38. Okay, I already did that one then. All right, so we're going to try out 38, see what that looks like. So 38. And 38. So by shrinking it down by 10 points, I think I'm going to be able to squeak out a extra button's worth of space. So 38. Okay. And we're also going to change all of their sizes to be 40. Okay. So yes, I definitely have enough room there now. Especially once I make you guys 40 and change your labels to 38. Cool. So let's go ahead and I guess we can just do the button actually. So we'll duplicate the apply button, move it up. And this is going to be our brightness button. Single these out. Our label is going to say adjust brightness. So yeah, that all fits in there. That's pretty good. And let's see, brightness button. Everything looks good. All right. Now the trick is we need to go to display options. Open this up. Oh my goodness. All the inspector. So we're gonna change this to brightness button. All right, let's go ahead and copy our hints here, paste this in. So instead of VSync hint, this is going to be brightness hint. Let's see. Adjust your screen's brightness settings. Let's see. Should I have a note? Trying to think of what games usually say for their description of brightness settings. I mean, I could just say exactly what it's supposed to do, adjust your screen's brightness settings. But I kind of want to say what you would do that for. Adjust your screen's brightness settings if things look too dark or too bright. Does that make sense? Adjust your screen's brightness settings if things too dark or too bright. I don't know how else to phrase that. That seems fine, so let's go ahead and just leave that. What else do we want to do? Let's see. Frame rate, refresh rate, full screen, VSync. Okay, so I guess I'm going to go ahead and say private float brightness get return, say 0f for now, and then set. I guess I don't have to do anything there. Let's go to game settings real quick. Let's go to definition. I need to add some fields for this. So let's see, video. Yeah, we'll put it here. So we'll go ahead and say, we'll put it above full screen. So private float brightness is equal to 0f. All right, so let's see here. Let's go ahead and go to definition here because I'm going to need to change this. And we're also going to need to adjust some of this. So video VSync, let's go ahead and copy this, paste this in. So instead of VSync, we're going to say video brightness. Brightness. Okay, and I'm just right now adjusting the default setup. So this is going to be video brightness, and then we'll say 0f. Probably shorten all of this code too, honestly. I have a lot of redundancies now, which are not needed. Because I've added some nice convenience constructors to all this stuff, so it'll automatically know what I want to make from my JSON. So I'm just going to go ahead and clean that up real quick. Okay. Oh my goodness, there's so much crap. Because reasons. Okay. I must say, UI work, let me tell you, it is the most entertaining work you will ever do. Alright, almost done. Let's see, just go ahead and get rid of all of this. Trying to think of anything exciting that's gone on right in the world right now while I'm doing all this repetitive stuff. Not that I can think of. I guess the Metroid game came out for 3DS, Samus Returns. Have not played it yet. Kind of should, or probably should anyway, because I enjoy the Metroid games. Well, except for Metroid Other M. That one was a train wreck coming. I knew that one. I knew that one a mile away. Let's see. Where are my settings for this individually? Are they way below here? They have to be, right? They are. What the heck? Oh, no. Okay, never mind. So, let's see. Collapse these. Here we are. So, VSync, full screen. Let's go ahead and put this here. So, it's going to be float, and then brightness. 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 Oh, that's going to refresh display settings, which is kind of pointless. So ironically enough, we're not, even though I would group this under our display settings, it's not really something that needs to do that. So I can, well, no, I can't. I'll keep that up there for now, but we don't really need to refresh our entire display. Because all the brightness is a post-processing effect applied to our cameras. So, yeah, that means that we need to basically hook into that on all of our cameras, which is kind of frustrating, but so let's go ahead and go back here to display view, and then let's change, here we are. I'm just going to copy this, paste U, and instead of VSync, we're going to say brightness, then brightness. All right, let's go up here to cached brightness, so cached VSync, private float, cached brightness is equal to 0f. And brightness is a little bit of a confusing term here because brightness can, our value can either be positive or negative. Basically, if you have a negative brightness value, that means that your monitor is bright by default, so you want to tone things down. And if you have a positive one, it means your monitor is dark, so we need to brighten things up. So you can actually have from negative 100 to positive 100 brightness. Default will, of course, be 0, but if you need to make adjustments, then you can. Although maybe I should make it more of a value between 0, 1, and 2. So even though a brightness of 0 would be interpreted or would be shown as 1, meaning that that's the default brightness 1. I guess that makes sense. Yeah. So that's going to be somewhat confusing. Okay. So let's go ahead and I bet I could even store it as just a normalized value between 0 and 1 with 0.5 being in the middle. But the shader itself is expecting negative 100 to 100, so I would have to do some weird math to get that to look right. So in any case, let's go ahead and say cached brightness is equal to brightness. All right, then we got to go ahead and add our fields here. So, value label. Oh, that's actually crud. That's somewhat different, isn't it? It is. All right. So since our adjust brightness is a button, it's not going to have a slider over here because we need those reference images. So what's going to happen is you will click on adjust brightness. That will pop up a little modal that says, adjust the slider until the image on the left is barely visible. And then once you finish that, you'll hit OK, and then that value will be passed back to this menu. So we kind of need that to, I don't know how we can show that. I guess we can't really, so yeah, we'll just have to live with that. Although in any case, let's go ahead and go over to brightness button and apply hint, brightness hint. Okay. So yeah, before we can finish this, let's go ahead. Before we can finish this, although we pretty much are done visually with it, we have to create the modal for our display option, or for our brightness option. So I'm going to apply those changes, and before I forget, I'm going to go ahead and apply our event listeners. So let's see, on vsync clicked. All right, and we're actually going to get rid of this. So we're going to say private void on brightness clicked, and that's not going to do anything for now, but we are going to need a couple. I guess that's right. It's all done down here, isn't it? I forget how massive my awake function is for this because it's just got a bunch of event listeners that it has to make. Of course, it's only called once, but you know, all of this has to be done. All right, so we're going to say brightness button dot on click dot add listener on brightness. If I can get to the B on brightness clicked, and then down here we're going to say pretty much just going to copy this, aren't we? Let's paste that in here. We're going to say brightness button dot on hover enter brightness hint. All right, and then finally, I guess there's not really much point to this, is there? I don't know why I don't just... okay, it's a safety check, I guess. So let's go ahead and minimize that. Vsync button, copy this, paste it down. Brightness button. Brightness hint. So this is basically setting up our tooltip information, so it knows when it's hovered, it needs to show a tooltip. Let's see here. Oh, and then I populate my screen resolution. Oh, I guess that makes sense. All right, so the next thing I need to do is handle on brightness clicked, which we can't do yet because we do not have a modal. So I'm going to need to make one once Unity compiles. All right, so we have display, and let's go ahead and create C# script. We're going to call this brightness modal. So, like its name implies, this will be a modal that pops up when you click the adjust brightness, and it's just going to have a solid black image with a dark gray image on the left and a white image on the right, and then a label, basically. So nothing particularly crazy. Oh, and then obviously the slider. So let's go ahead and reload all. All right, so first things first, using Unity engine.ui, using, I don't really need sleepyowl.common. I am going to need to say using TM Pro, I'm pretty sure. Actually, no, I'm definitely going to need that because with every slider in an options menu, you need to be able to manually input the values. So I need to have the input field be there. All right, so let's see here. The trick here is going to be rendering all of this, which is going to be super fun. So let's go ahead and say public. Well, do I need a render texture? Not really. Okay. I don't remember what I need for my camera to work. Oh, right. And we're going to actually need a little bit of a weird camera setup, which is going to be fun. So we're basically going to have, it's not going to be a straight image. Instead, it's going to be like a weird render texture being done. Or actually, you know what? Oh, can I even do that? I was wondering if I could have a sub canvas that's different from the parent canvas. I'm willing to bet no. So let's go ahead and say create UI canvas. Yeah, I can't. That is a little annoying. So I can't can't have multiple cameras rendering that, which means that I do have to have a friggin' render texture for this. Of course I do. So, all right, that's fine. It's just annoying. In any case, oh right, and then the other thing that I needed was go to let's see, Microsoft standard assets, asset store, colorful effects, scripts, effects, and I need to look at brightness and contrast. So it's namespace colorful. Okay. So we're gonna have to say using colorful. Colorful is an asset that I got from the asset store. It's a lot of post-process effects. And it has a brightness and contrast shader for a post-process effect, which is brilliant because I was really worried I was going to have to code my own. Fortunately, the code to do it is fairly simple, but I'm assuming that he has better optimizations than I would. So let's go ahead and say public brightness contrast gamma, which I'm assuming is just what it's called. Yeah. So we'll call this template, or we'll call it modal brightness. Then we're also going to need public slider. Oh, it needs a name. Duh. Public slider, brightness slider. We'll just call it slider. Public TMP input field, and we'll call this slider input. And that's pretty much it. So we're going to put this in the text quest namespace, obviously, and then we will say using sleepyowl.common. This is going to be a game modal. Let's see. I guess actually this would be a text quest modal. And we're going to go ahead and override open. And of course this is going to be a little annoying. So I don't, well, yeah, I need to basically override all of these opens. Definition, text quest modal. This dot option letters is equal to option letters. Right. I suppose then I only need to override these two, which is fair. All right, so let's go ahead and override open the other one, which is right here. And let's go ahead and say if not is open, we'll do our base. And if not is open, and all I'm doing is basically on open, I need to refresh our slider value to be whatever it's supposed to be. So let's see, how do I want to structure this? Let's go ahead and have a private void refresh info. Well, how about refresh brightness? So we'll call refresh brightness. Wow, not that. In both of these options, or in both of these open functions, we'll just call refresh brightness. And all that's going to do is say modal brightness dot brightness is equal to game settings dot brightness, I believe. Okay. Now the question is, do I want to represent it as a 0 to 1 or a 0 to 2 or a negative 100 to 100? Well, I suppose all right, give me a second here. Let's go ahead and start building the UI component of our modal because I need to actually see what the brightness and contrast gamma controls are and what things look like once I start sliding those around. So I guess to start, we're going to want to have our modal. And let's see, we'll have our modal load, I think is what I'm going to want. Right? Yeah, we're going to want this. So, actually, yeah, it's probably fine. Let's turn this on. Yeah, that's pretty much what I want. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and say, let's change this from modal load game to modal brightness. We're going to go ahead and just drag that down here. That way I don't accidentally override my overwrite my load game modal, and then we're going to need to change some stuff. So title is not going to be called. Well, I suppose we'll still keep that. Content will be a little different though. Let's go ahead and remove this. And where are you? Brightness modal. All right, so there's our root. And show cursor on close. That will be correct. Message label is going to be, well, there's the title label. Content label, I'm guessing. Yep. Okay. Button prefab is going to be modal button. And default button colors. Let me see what my load game modal does for these. Man, I wish I could just copy and paste those, but I can't. So, yay. Okay, so we have solid black. I guess I can copy and paste them manually like this. Like a barbarian. Make this solid alpha. Game. Just go ahead and grab this. Fortunately, it seems to be the same for all of this, except for you, which is 150, which is fine. And change this to 150. Cool. Color multiplier will be 1, and fade duration will be 0.2. At least I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Yep. And, alright. So now we have to mess around with this a little bit. It's going to be kind of weird. All right. This is going to be super weird. How do I want to do this? All right. Let's go ahead and... Okay. Let's find our display options prefab. And I'm going to, I guess, make it here. I'm going to create a render texture. I almost never need to do this, so I don't know where it is. There it is. All right, so this render texture is just going to be our brightness. Render texture. God, this is going to be so friggin' weird. Geez, I honestly don't even know if I can. Okay. This is gonna be so awkward. All right. Let's see here. So we want our texture size. I'm guessing to be 512 by 256, so about 2 to 1. No anti-aliasing, color format, that's all fine. Depth buffer, I think that's all fine. Dimension is going to be 2D, again, all fine. Filter mode, bilinear, everything should be good. Okay, so we're going to do kind of a weird thing here. And I'm going to grab our panel, and I'm going to create a camera below it. And that camera is going to clear depth only, and it is going to cull only the UI. So it's only going to show the UI. Let's see, we'll have a 0.1, no, 0.1 near clipping plane, and like 100, honestly, for the far clipping plane. We are not going to have it be in perspective, it's going to be orthographic. Let's take a look at this. It's teeny tiny, that's fine. We're going to rotate it 180 degrees so it's facing the other way, and then we're going to have an image back there, basically. Oh god, that might not work, because my base UI is already that, which means that I need to actually move this significantly far back in the Z. So negative 100. Wow, not even close. Jeez, negative 500. That seems more correct. Okay, so that's a little too far. Try for like negative 200. Is that good? I'm basically trying to get it so that I'm not inside of the camera that's rendering the main UI canvas. I don't want it to be seen. So yeah, let's go ahead and say like negative 400. I think that should be good. Okay, I don't want it to be super far away though. Mostly for organizational purposes. So that's good. That's good enough. All right. I guess we'll use forward in this case. Turn off MSA. And okay. So I have to do something weird here, which is I'm going to create. Oh my goodness, I am not going to like this at all. God, I really wish I didn't have to do it this way. Well, maybe I don't. All right, so we're going to go ahead and create a 2D effect, or 2D object, make a sprite. It's going to be our solid, and it is going to be quite tiny. I actually don't know if you can actually even see it. Okay, good, you can. No, you can't. I don't. Okay. All right. Let's. Dang it. Of course, it's the panel. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out if I can actually see this. I guess I can tint this, and that'll let us know. All right. So we're going to change our order here. The UI camera, I'm guessing. Yep, 5. Okay. So we need this to be larger than that. So 6. There we go. Okay. So let's change our size to 1. That is pretty good. We are going to do all kinds of weird stuff to get this to look right. So we're going to have a 2D object. Actually, I can't even do that. I need a 3D object. It's going to be a text mesh pro text. Yes, that's correct. And how small are you? 36. 18. Let's go ahead and center and center. All right, I lied. We're going to go ahead and just change our size here to 5. We're going to move our sample text here back by 1. We're going to change it to say image. It's going to be like a middle gray for now. And the idea is that we're going to have it, actually say image. Let's go ahead and swap out for our 8-bit font. It says image there. And let's go ahead and come up here. We're going to say dark image. And we'll duplicate this. We'll call this one light image or imagei. Image. Single out our sizes. And now for our position Z. -1, or I'm sorry, +1, I suppose. That should be fine. The trick here is that we're basically going to have this camera render out to a render texture. So put you there. And then we are going to need to move these. So move you to the left here, move you to the right here. How do you look? Wow, you look terrible. Okay. Solid color. Oh, actually, that works even better. Duh. Because then I don't even need this background sprite. I can just do that. That seems to be good. So let's go ahead and position these now. Although, actually, you know what? Before we do anything else, let's go ahead and go to content here, content image. I'm going to remove this and add another UI image, but it's going to be a raw image, and that raw image is going to take our render texture. Okay. So now we can actually make these adjustments, and you'll see them change here. So let's change our light image. Let's make it white. All right. So it's a little odd, you'll notice, in our content image, and that is because we are not properly sized. So if we look at our image here, it is, I was going to say, it's a little hard for me to tell. Here we are. So if I go into debug, are you going to tell me the rect? So it's about, nope, you're not. Of course you're not. They really need to have some friggin' visualization on what the rect is. Make it a lot easier to judge these things. So if we make this like 150. Okay, so 175 by 175. That seems correct. It's honestly very difficult to tell. It's so far away because it's so tiny. Nope, it is a little scrunched still. So let's go back up here. 150 by 150. All right, that seems a little bit better. So, that's good enough anyway. All right, so our dark image is going to have to be pretty dark. So this is basically what. Wow, really? All right. I'm going to go ahead and say there. So that's at about 666. Well, that's not ominous. I can see that image actually be displayed by my camera. And that's basically what we want. So we want the left image to just barely be visible and the right image to be perfectly visible. Now we're going to go ahead and add that post-process effect, so brightness, contrast, gamma. And if we adjust this, there we go. I can't see it anymore. So at about -12-ish. Actually, if I really look at my monitor, if I get really, really close to it and stare, I can see the image. So yeah, about -12 for me makes it too dark. So I'm keeping it at 0 because this is what I think it should be. I am using my monitor as a base. But if you can't see that image, I'm going to crank up the brightness now. So there you go. You can see it sort of pops a little bit more. Depending on your monitor, that still might not be bright enough, but there are limits to how bright I can make things, because the brighter you make things, the more likely they are to get blown out, which just means that things will sort of start tending towards white. So I'm going to 0 that out. I could also do contrast and stuff like that. Wow. That's... Huh. All right. But I think brightness is going to be the thing that I really use. Although gamma, I wonder if I could... Gamma actually would work too. Although I don't really know if I should do both. Alright. I might end up hooking into gamma, but I think brightness for now is fine. Although maybe gamma should be the one that's used. It kind of feels like that might be a little bit better, actually. We'll hook it up, and then we'll mess with stuff in scenes to actually tell if it's a good idea or not. Alright, so let's go ahead and go back to our brightness. We're going to grab our camera. we don't have our slider set up yet. So things are probably gonna get weird again because I should have moved all this stuff before I set up the image, but oh well. All right. Trying to think about how I want to do this. Yeah, right. So actually, I'm going to go ahead and no, that's fine. I was going to add a white border, but I don't think that's really necessary. Mostly because that would have helped me debug the size of this without having to look at it. So let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and focus on this. Reverse this. I'm going to have to expand this to allow for the message to be shown, as well as the buttons, which are the buttons are going to take up this black spot right down here. Then we have our message, but I also need room for our slider, which is going to have to go between our message and the image itself. So I need more space, basically, vertically. So I'm going to go ahead and bump our height. Well, you're set at a flat 70. And our content label. It's all within that. That's fair. So yeah, we're going to change our height to 600. Don't want to go to 7. No. I actually don't. Ooh. That's a good point. I actually need to change this. So from the top 100 and from the bottom 100, and from the left 200 and from the right 200. Should be almost the same as what it was. I actually probably could have done that without stretching it, so there we go. That was almost right. Yeah, I think that's probably fine. All right. So let's go ahead and add our slider, which I'm trying to think right now if I do. I'm going to steal a slider from my display options. Let's go ahead and turn off our modal brightness. Oh, I lied. Display options has none. I'm going to steal an option from, or a slider from our graphics options. Content grid, AA amount, AA slider. So let's go ahead and copy this. Mostly because I don't like rebuilding those stupid sliders every time I need to make one. I really should just make it a prefab. So content, yeah, I guess it'll go there. So let's go ahead and paste this in, and we'll call this, instead of AA slider, we will call it brightness slider. Brightness slider. Oh, and you know what? While I'm in the graphics options, I probably should just go ahead and grab our input field. We're just going to go ahead and paste that in there too. So let's go ahead and change this to say brightness input. Brightness. Okay. So these are the two things that I really need. Everything else is kind of simple. Let's see here. So for our slider, well, actually, I guess first for our image. Oh, crud. This is going to change. Dang it. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to think about how I want to do this. Okay. Content label. Are you a fixed height? You are not. You're just you just okay. I just had it fill up the entire thing, and I just aligned it to the bottom. I mean that works, except it doesn't anymore. So frack. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. So our content label is actually going to be stretched along the bottom. It is going to have a position of 0. Well, actually maybe a position of 5. And then 15. give us enough of a buffer. A height of, how tall are you, or how large is your font? So 70. That's how large we have to work with. I always try to allow for 2 lines of text in these modals, no wider or no taller. Let's go 15, 15. Let's do 20 and 20. There we go. Let's see. Our image now is going to be a fixed size, I think. So we're going to do something similar. We're going to have it stretch all the way from the top. Pivot of 1. Position. And let's see. From the left, 50, and from the right, 50. Let's go. Let's shorten our height. How tall is our slider? You do not know because you are not set up. 50. Okay, so we need to get 50 out of this. So let's shorten you to 300. That's not too bad. Sorry, making sure that my audio was correct. Let's see. So, hold on. I mean, I could shrink it in a little bit more, but I don't really need to, I guess. So, for the sake of it looking a little wide, let's go ahead and say 60 and 60. That looks a little bit better. And now we will position our brightness slider. So it's going to be stretched. God, this is admittedly going to be one of the weirdest setups that I've ever done. So it's going to be stretched from the bottom, and it is going to be a position of 0, a position of 50. Nope, a position of 80. I'm guessing. And you know what? Before I do all that, I'm going to actually just make an empty rect transform to handle all of that for me. So 0 you out. We're going to call this brightness controls. Does control have 2 L's? No, it's got 1. Okay, I don't know why it looked wrong to me. All right. So we have that set up now. A height of 50 is all that's necessary, and a position of 80 is what we want. So now we're going to go ahead and just drag our slider and our input in here. Our slider now will stretch all the way, and it will be just stretched from, I don't know, 0.2 is probably fine, to 0.6, and our input will essentially be the same, except it will stretch from 0.65 to 0.8. That seems fine. All right. So now we have to change this a little bit. It's not going to be an integer number. It's going to be a decimal number. And by default, it will be 1. So I think I'm going to try to simplify this. So our brightness is going to be... Well, no, that's right. I think we might actually end up hooking into gamma correction. So, I don't know which is better. We're going to test that out right now. So we're going to save the scene real quick, and I'm going to run the test. Let's go to our overworld, our cabin, and the cabin. Except it didn't want to go. There we go. Okay. That's a little odd. Okay. Weird. In any case, let's go ahead. We're not going to maximize on play. Instead, we're going to play, and then I'm going to pause right away. Because the cabin is probably the darkest area in the game right now. And that's not ideal. it's supposed to be somewhat dark because, well, it's a boarded up cabin. So, eh. Um, so let's go ahead and go over to. It's already kind of bright, actually. Wait, oh, did I leave? Hold on. I might have actually left that on. Let's go ahead and go to our main camera here. Oh, no, I don't. Okay. Super weird. It was much darker before. Is my lighting ambience turned up or something? Ah, there it is. Indirect intensity. Let's see. I think it should be 1 by default. Yeah, so that's a little bit better. Let's go ahead and look at our main camera here, and now we're going to adjust our brightness. Actually, no, we're going to adjust the gamma. Oh, my goodness. That got out of hand super quickly. Wow. So I think gamma actually will be the better option instead of just straight up brightness. So it's blowing out some colors you can see. Like we're getting some pretty nasty banding going on. But that's kind of the point. So, geez, what the heck happened there? Yeah, like none of that looks like this. So if I reset that to 1, like it's too dark for me to see. I can, if I squint, I can see it. It's really dark. So, yeah, gamma. Wow, gamma is the real powerhouse, huh? Versus brightness, which, you know, if I crank that, this is the best I can get. And it's not bad. It's actually a much nicer subtle effect. But gamma will, well, I guess brightness does its thing too. All right, I think we're going to use brightness. And maybe I will add gamma as a separate advanced option. Maybe. I honestly don't think you need both. And I think in most cases it's the gamma. Okay. I'm trying to think. So last night I actually looked at a bunch of games with this setting. And I think it was always interpreted or presented as like gamma correction. So I know that Amnesia the Dark Descent had a gamma correction, and I think its value was basically 0.01 increments. So you had 1 by default, then 1.1, 1.2. So I suppose we could do that. So this is 1, 1.1, 0.2, 0.3, 4, 5, and honestly about 5 I feel like things are starting to get blown out. I mean, actually probably around 3 is when they start to get noticeably blown out. So 1 is good. So 1 itself is fine. 1.1 is not terrible, and it seems to actually make everything bright enough. So yeah, okay. I think we're gonna do gamma. So let's go ahead and save this. We'll go back to our splash fade. Gamma. I believe in you. You can do it, Unity. There we go. All right. So yeah, I think we'll just call it gamma. Let's go to our modal, go to our panel, background, content, brightness slider. All right, so the min value here is going to be 0.1. Oh, whole numbers, right? Sorry. So 0.1, and I'm going to say max value is like 1.5. Should I go all the way to 2? I guess. It just seems so much. So we can actually scrub this to see what it looks like. Wow. That's like cranked all the way to 5. It's actually pretty terrible. I'm sorry, that's 10. Um, I honestly feel like 2 is plenty, but I guess there's no reason why I couldn't allow you to go higher. Um, all right. Yeah. Let's go ahead and let's say up to 5, because I feel like really anything past 5 and you're going to get ridiculous results. So we're actually not even hooking into brightness. We're hooking into gamma. Uh, uh, yeah. Let's go ahead and rename these then. So gamma. Gamma. Oh, not gamey. Gamma. Gamma. Ah, come on. Capital G. Not a savage. And that's pretty much good. Let's go ahead and call this modal gamma. And let's assign everything, I suppose. So slider and input. All right, so let's disable this. Select this, make sure it's correct. Hit apply. Hit save. I really wish I knew why renaming stuff in the hierarchy does not rename stuff when they're prefabs. Gamma. Like you have to manually do it in the project view. You can't even select it and change it in the inspector because it just doesn't keep its change for some reason. No idea why. Let's go ahead and rename this to gamma render texture. Let's see. It's already called brightness modal, but yeah, that's fine. Oh, dang it. I can't believe I forgot to assign my message. Okay. Kind of important. Let's go to background, content, gamma, content label. Oh, the button grid. Okay. I just dragged the wrong thing in there completely. There's the button grid. And everything else should be good. So let's go ahead and apply those changes. Delete you, hit save. Let's go to our UI prefab. Under resources, go to UI. Drag our modal in there. Modal gamma. All right. So let's see. What's the next thing I need to do? Let's go ahead and turn you off. And then, well, actually, I guess well, right, we got to do code. Let's see. Oh, and speaking of code, because I forgot, I always forget to turn those stupid things on. Hello, Gelmega. Welcome to the Devstream again. Or welcome back. How are you doing today? All right, so this is not going to be brightness, and we are going to rename all of this to gamma. So this is going to be gamma. Let's go to definition. We basically need to rename all of this to gamma. Go to our default value here, which should be 1F. And need to go to our settings utility, to our default settings. Let's see, where are you? There we are. Set that as 1F, rename this to video gamma. Oops, capitals. And we should be good. I think. So let's go ahead and go back here to our brightness modal. Yep, that's all fine. Working on my string class. Already have 5K lines of implementation. That is a lot of code. Good God. All right. Private void on slider changed, float value, private void on slider input changed, string value, override. Do I have a update? Okay, I don't have an awake. That's fine. Private void awake. So we're just going to say slider dot on value changed dot add listener on slider changed. Then slider input dot on value changed dot add listener on slider input changed. Very simple. Strings are big and surprisingly complex. I suppose that makes sense. I mean, they are one of the like bedrock types of programming. Okay, so on slider changed. So for this, we're going to want to, let's see. I suppose we'll just directly say modal brightness dot gamma is equal to value. Actually, hold on. Let me peek definition here. Peek definition here. There is a selected callback, isn't there? But there's not. Oh. I might have to add some function stuff here. System.action. System.action. Yeah, that's not super great. Peak definition. Let's see, selected callback. Is that protected? Please tell me I made it protected. Of course I did not. Why would I have? Selected callback. On button clicked. Oh, but I can override that. So that's actually fine. Okay. So we're going to override on button clicked. Override on button clicked. Make sure that the base is actually the base. Definition. Good. So we'll just say close. All right. So I basically need to have my own system.action here that's kept because I need to pass the gamma value back. So we're going to go ahead and say private system.action and then string the option chosen and then the float, which is the value passed. So what do I want to call this? Call this gamma callback. That's good. So I'm going to change this to string comma float, which is actually going to make that not an override function, and instead I need to do that. Except I can't. Oh dear. But I can make that null. So that's good. Peak definition. Make sure that this it's not null by default. Oh no, okay, it is. Good. So I do actually need to just it doesn't matter because I'm okay. Sorry, overthinking things. Probably not going to implement string.format quite yet. It's annoying to implement. Yeah, I would imagine so. It definitely doesn't seem as straightforward as its uses, because I know that you need to basically convert a lot of objects into their string component values when you're using it. This is probably going to wait with implementing any regex. Yeah, and regex just seems like a nightmare. I still don't fully. It's not. How do I phrase it? It's not that I don't grasp how regex works. It's just that I so rarely use it that I always forget formatting for it. And then I have to go and look up how to properly format regex stuff, and I hate it because it's just so annoying. All right, so let's go ahead and say float. No. Get rid of this. All right. And everything else is fine. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and say if gamma callback does not equal null, gamma callback did that completely wrong. It's actually dot invoke option, and then the float, which is going to be modal brightness dot gamma, I think. That will be fine. All right. And then, of course, after that, we're going to have to say gamma callback is equal to null. Is that actually what I do in my base? I feel like that should be what I do in my base. But I don't think it is. It is not. So I don't even have a safety check. I should probably do that. If selected callback does not equal null, then I need to set it to be null again. Otherwise, it's possible that it might be opened up at a future date with a null function, but then it wouldn't be correct. Well, I guess it does get set at the beginning, but what are you gonna do? Let's go ahead and close that. Close this. Okay. So I think we're almost ready to actually test this. And let's see, on slider changed, float value, game settings, peak this, instance gamma is equal to value, refresh display settings. Okay. On slider input changed. Right. So once we set this up, then you know what, we might, since we're already doing gamma stuff, we might end up sliding over into anti-aliasing support as well, because they're basically the same problem. And this is the reason why I actually stopped anti-aliasing stuff, was because at the time I was switching my rendering pipeline from forward rendering to deferred rendering, and then that meant that I had to use post-process effects for my anti-aliasing, and I never really hooked into all of the anti-aliasing stuff that I needed to do, because you need to, ideally, you should support multiple forms of anti-aliasing. So, you know, you could have like temporal anti-aliasing, FXAA, MSAA, all those fun things. Screen space, which is like the fanciest of anti-aliasing, but it is also the most intense of anti-aliasing solutions. But all of them are weird, and they all have their own particular sort of preferred ranges. Because with like MSAA and FXAA, you could have like 2 times anti-aliasing, 4 times anti-aliasing, 8 times anti-aliasing. I think you go up to 8. I don't remember if you can go up to 16. I think you can go up to 8. But then for things like screen space anti-aliasing, you basically want like 1.5 because it's not the same method. It's like a 1 to 2 range, and 2 is like super intensive. It is ridiculous. Like it looks good, but it also just is imperformant. So that's one of those more like if you have a monster rig, then you would run SSAA. Temporal anti-aliasing is kind of along those lines. It's a little bit intensive, but it's again and the thing is with anti-aliasing, you basically need to support a bunch of different formats because everyone has one that they prefer. Some people don't like FXAA because it's not really rendering at higher resolution. It's more like it smooths things, and that makes it look like there's Vaseline over some stuff, depending on how you think about it. I don't like FXAA as much, and if given the choice, I won't use anti-aliasing if FXAA is my only choice. So things like MSAA, SSAA, TAA, all of those need to be supported, but I don't really have a good solution for all of those. So that might actually be a thing for Thursday. But that'd be a fun thing to get in there. Be a nice little feature. And it would just be nice to actually finish up my my menus for options. Anyway, on to the task at hand. Let's see here. We're going to also need to do a couple of things here. I'm going to go ahead and say refresh brightness below that. Private void set slider input value. We're going to pass a float value. And private void set slider value. Also a float value. So the reason I'm adding these functions here and making them private is because whenever you change the slider, you need to update the slider input and vice versa. But if we just do it like this, where we say slider input is equal to value.toString, that would, slider input.text is equal to value.toString. That would actually trigger a event for our slider input changing, and then we would have to trigger the slider changed, and then we'd get into a little bit of a loop. Now, I think if they're the same, it doesn't actually flag the event to say that we've changed our slider value or our text value, but it's also kind of just wasted potential, or not wasted potential, wasted resources to still fire an extra event every time. So instead, we're basically going to decouple the event listener for whatever we're adjusting, and then reassign that after we adjust it. So what we would do here is we're just going to say set slider input value, value, and then set, actually I guess we'll do float value. Well, float value. float value is equal to value dot to float with a default value of 1f in case it fails to parse for some reason. And then we're just going to say set slider value, float value, and then of course we will say modal brightness dot gamma. Sorry, I kept typing game by accident. Is equal to float value. Okay. So for set slider input value, we'll do set slider first. So we're going to say slider dot on value changed dot remove all listeners, and slider dot on value changed dot add listener on slider changed. Then we'll say slider dot value is equal to value. So we're basically going to do the same thing here. It's going to be slider input, and then value dot to string, slider value changed, and text. Okay, we're not actually done there because I need to know basically how much I want to show, and I think I'm going to format to within 2 zeros. So I guess for the sake of ease of access, I'm going to go ahead and say string value formatting. Value formatting is equal to 0. Oops, sorry, it's a string. So 0.00. So basically, all of my displayed string values in our input field are going to be rounded to the nearest hundredths place of a decimal. So let's go ahead and tooltip these. So formatting to be applied to the input fields text. And tooltip input field for, well, showing the sliders. I don't know how to phrase that. I guess we'll just say sliders value. So tooltip slider to adjust gamma value. Okay. And let's see, what else do I need to do in here while we're here? Refresh brightness, all that stuff is fine. And I'm refreshing brightness after all of this. Okay. I think we are ready to go. So we should be good to test this. Now with the way it's currently set up, our refresh or our gamma settings will only affect our menu. It's not going to affect in-game stuff yet, and that's because we need to set up something that's going to call refresh on the hero's gamma camera, or well, camera that has gamma correction applied to it. And well, yeah. So we have to have an event that gets fired basically. That way the gamma can be refreshed while you're playing. And as well, we'll probably have something that refreshes all of the post-process effects on the player whenever a scene starts or whenever a level loads, just to make sure that everything's correct. Because any post-process effects that we have on the player camera is also going to have to be applied on all of the cameras that we use for the menus. So, yeah, that's a lot of cameras that are going to require a lot of, not reworking, but additions, more or less. Right. So, actually, before we can test that, we need to go to Display Options View, and then on Brightness clicked, we need to say UI.getModal, brightness modal. Okay, so let's go ahead and call this brightness modal. Modal is equal to that. And then we'll say modal.open. We are getting ridiculous with how many of these things I freaking need, though. So actually, you know what? Before we do anything there, I'm going to go up here to our inspector. All the way up. Oh, and I need to rename these, don't I? So rename this to gamma. Rename cached brightness to cached gamma. Let's see, close, save settings, need to go here. Since that's saved, need to go here. Do I have this? Video refresh rate, vsync, I do not. So I will add that. Video gamma, then gamma, except what are, seriously? I guess that's fair. They're just wrappers anyway. Okay, so all that fun stuff should be good. Display options view, here we are. So I need to go to, where are you? I guess on apply, cached gamma is equal to gamma. Cancel, gamma is equal to cached gamma. Update settings, let's go to refresh settings, peak definition. Refresh display settings, that's, dang it. I really do think that this actually kind of belongs in graphics now because it's post-process effects. Except dang it. Sorry. I keep putting myself in quandaries because technically this is a post-processing effect, but it's not like it's a post-processing effect that's one, very intensive, and two, really needs to be considered one. Because, it technically is, but it's more useful and I think clear for the user to think of it as just adjusting something on the screen itself, not a post-process effect for the game. So it's fine going where it is. All right. Let's see. Next resolution clicked. Where are you? Here we are. Oh, and I didn't do what I set out to do up here, which was come up here, and we're going to say public modal option. Yeah, game modal option. And we're going to say gamma options is equal to new game modal option. We're going to have 2. By default, we'll have new game modal option. I guess I need to have a text color, don't I? That's fine. So we're going to say, dang it. I'm sorry, I'm trying to think of what I want my options to be. See, do I have a text quest modal? Modal option. Guess I do. Bah, you know what? I'm just gonna set it as 0 if I can spell, but apparently I can't. Then we're gonna have public string gamma option letters. That one I can set easily, so that's gonna be string. There's gonna be 2 strings in this array, and one is gonna be accept. So A. The other is going to be C for cancel. Seems like a good idea. Why are you mad? I have a comma. Am I doing something? Why can't I think of what I'm doing wrong here? All right. Load game menu. I'm sorry, load game view. This should have one. I guess super weird. Okay. Whatever. I guess I probably should keep them as constants anyway. But that is strange. I do need to keep the options, though, I'm pretty sure. Well, maybe not. Fine. We won't worry about it. Let's just go ahead and go up here. We'll make our constants. So we're going to say private const string, and let's see what I want to call it. I call it in load game view. Difficulty, guess option. All right. So apply option. Oops. Apply. Go ahead and copy that. So cancel option is equal to cancel. And let's see, what else do I want to do? Yes letter and no letter, I suppose. So let's go ahead and copy this. Apply letter, lowercase a. Cancel letter, lowercase c. What else do I need? I think that's it. I do need a message to show and a title, though. So let's go ahead and say public string gamma modal title is equal to adjust gamma public string gamma modal message is equal to something, and it will be a text area 1 and 2, and it's going to say adjust the slider until the image on the left is barely visible. I really hope I can still do quite some things next week, since next week I won't have time. I'll have about 6 weeks to make my thesis. And your thesis is the engine, correct? Or is it making something with the engine? I forget what it was. No? I thought that's what... Maybe I misremembered that. What's the thesis then? No idea. Okay. Well, what's the actual, I guess, assignment in that case? Oh, okay. Okay. I guess I just misremembered that. Anyway, let's see. So we're going to need all of that. We're going to come down here to our modal. Modal. Here we are. And we're just going to say modal dot open And let's see. So we're going to say gamma modal message. Selection callback will be null for now, and then the title will be gamma title. Gamma modal title, I guess. Okay, and then our options are just going to be right. So it's actually got to be this. Shite. I don't want to do that, do I? I bet I cached it. I did. I did that. I did that really complicated, convoluted crap. At this point, I wonder if it would be better just to have like a freaking cacheable modal option that I can do. Probably nothing easier than that. Well, school only starts next week, so I don't know these times. Oh, okay. So you were saying that that was the concern, is that you'll only have 6 weeks once you know what it is. Okay, that's fair. Great. So I need to do all that fun setup. Let's go ahead and come up here. So we're going to say private string array gamma options equal to new string array private string gamma letters equal to new string array. All right. Then we're going to need to say down here all of this private one more up private string array gamma options get return gamma options is greater dot length is greater than 0 question mark. If so, we'll just return gamma options. Otherwise, gamma options are going to be equal to a new string array of 2. And it's going to be u and u. So weird that it complained before. So we're going to say apply option and then cancel option. All right, we're going to go ahead and copy this. Paste this in gamma letters, paste that in, apply letter, then cancel letter. Okay, let's scroll back down here, and we're going to go ahead and say gamma options, and then gamma letters, semicolon. All right, then we're going to say private void on brightness selected. I'm sorry, on gamma. It's going to be a string option, and then a float value. Okay, I'm going to rename some of this so that's gamma. Okay. So for this, we're just going to say switch option. Actually, you know what? It's only ever going to be the 2, so I'm going to say if option is equal to apply option else. All right. So with that, we will say gamma is equal to value, and update settings should be called, I suppose. All right. Then otherwise, nothing happens actually. That's pretty much it. It's only if it's true. After that, we have 12 weeks for a group project. That's first semester, and the other semester is internship. Okay. Do you know what you're planning to do for internship yet, or does your school assign you one? let's see, on gamma selected. Let's go ahead and I'm actually going to rename my brightness button to gamma. So gamma button. And then we should be good, I think. Pretty sure. Let's go ahead and let that compile. Turn on our UI. Turn on our display options. And hold on. Gotta click. There we go. So we're going to have content, grid, brightness button here, which I will rename to the gamma button. And I will also rename this to, well, rename its label to say adjust gamma. Okay. That also means that we're going to need to change our description for that. So instead of brightness hint, it's going to say, oh, you know what, actually, since I got to change that anyway, go ahead and rename this to gamma hint. Adjust your screen's gamma settings if things look too dark or too bright. So that should solve that. It should just automatically change. That wouldn't work if I kept the name, but since it's a different value now, or a different variable name, that means it's not serialized. And there it is. Adjust your screen's gamma settings. All right. Do I need anything else? No, that all looks good. Cool. So let's go ahead and turn that off. Hit apply. Turn this off. And save. Okay. So we're going to try to adjust our gamma settings. And we'll see how successful we are. Not sure how well this will go, but it will be interesting. So start, options, display, shite. Why did you null reference? Oh, you didn't. Well, okay, you did. But our door didn't. Or our door did, for some weird reason. Oh, right. Okay, that's fair. Stop lane. Yeah, let's just get rid of that line. We're not using that anywhere else, are we? No, good. Yep, we don't need the scroll bar anymore because we're not actually going to do anything with it. So actually, I could get rid of that whole scroll area. That would actually probably save me quite a bit on performance because it wouldn't be constantly rebuilding. Yeah, performance increases. If anything goes like I suspect, I'd probably do an internship at Yarian Studio. Sent mails, Skype conversations, haven't responded yet, so no, probably since Divinity 2 released September 14th, they probably have time off now. Makes sense. Is that the type of game that you personally enjoy? The CRPG? Pretty sure that's what I would classify Divinity as. CRPG? Yeah, seems right. Go ahead and clear this. Let's open up our UI again real quick. Go to display options, open this up. Content grid, which now I can actually remove. I don't think it's even needed, really. I honestly don't even think we need a mask. Ooh. Oh, well, we'll keep that on there for now. I don't think we need it for anything. Also, just go ahead and turn off our scroll rect. So, let's see, what else would I need? I don't really think I need to change anything else. And our resolutions actually are not being used anymore, so yeah, we might end up carving out a fair amount of that. But either way, ahead and apply again. Turn you off. Save. Okay. Let's try that again. Well, I'm not a huge fan of top-down RPGs, but I like RPGs. Two of the companies I would love to work at is either Bethesda Game Studios or BioWare. Hope I have some luck in the future. Yeah, that's a fair thing to do. I'm trying to think of actually the last RPG that I really got into. I mean, I played Skyrim, but every time I tried to play, I didn't play any of the DLCs in Skyrim because I got it when it first came out, and I just can't bring myself to play through it again and play the DLCs. And that is why I no longer buy Bethesda games on launch, because I know, one, they'll be super buggy, and two, they'll have a lot of content afterwards, and I won't be able to play through it twice. That's not true for everything. New Fallout New Vegas, played through that multiple times. Love it to death. Never get tired of it. But can't do Fallout 3 really. I get bored with it. Skyrim, I get bored with it. Oblivion, I occasionally boot up and play it again. I never really finish it, but I have enough fun with it. It's not like Skyrim where I get bored really, really quickly. Anyway, options, display, adjust gamma. Shite. Oh, right. I know what happened. That Stack Overflow happened. Exactly what I said would happen. Um, Actually, no, that doesn't make sense. Why on earth did you do that? Let's go back here to display options. So it should be about here. On gamma click. Get modal. Open. Oh, crud. I also didn't pass this. So on gamma selected. So that's good. But let's see what our Stack Overflow was there. Well, it would be a bit weird to have a game dev bachelor not work on games. No, that's true. That is very true. Get modal. Interesting. Is open at modal 46. That's weird. Go to definition. Go to definition 46. I don't. What? How on earth could you be a Stack Overflow exception? That does not make sense. Did I do something stupid? Oh, no. No. Why are you... Seriously, like, I don't know where you came from. Let's see. It's in our brightness modal, line 34. 34. I mean, I assigned that. Right? Yeah, there's our root. How on earth is that a friggin... How are you a Stack Overflow, Peak? Return root.activeSelf, and root is not even returning itself. It's returning another variable entirely. How on earth are you freaking out? That can't be right. It has to be something else. 34, 36. There it is, 36 from the looks of it. Oh. Oh. Okay. Yeah, that's what it is. Can I just do base? Yes. Okay. Sorry. I didn't think about the fact that I had the same parameters in here, so yeah, that makes total sense. That was me being stupid. Okay, let's try that again. Third time's a charm. But yeah, as far as modern RPGs go, I haven't actually played Fallout 4. It's on my list of things to play, but I honestly don't know. Kind of curious to try their VR version of it now. I don't know how well that will go because Skyrim VR is apparently a steaming pile of garbage, but who knows? Now, right, default size. You. I might not want you to do that though. Check something real quick. 240, so 480 by. Let's see if I can get that to work. I will be super surprised. 480 by 112. I wonder. We'll find out. So I have a default size for our modals. When they pop up, it's basically supposed to resize the panel, but we'll see if it resizes in a way I expect. So options, display. I don't know why I did that. Interesting. Why are you so... What the frig? Oh, I guess it's not. It's just that our label was too tall. Crud. And that's what I was worried about. Okay. So... Frack. Okay. So I need to adjust this a little bit more. So I think I need to shorten the distance from the top and bottom. So we'll bring that down to like 50, which will give me a little bit more wiggle room here. And then I'm also just going to shrink my image down a little bit more until I can accommodate this. So it's apparently going to be 3 things long, which is a little annoying. But just the slider until the image on the left is barely visible. Yeah, I can't really shorten that. That's kind of what I need to. I mean, I could say until the left image is barely visible. Yeah, I guess that's fine. We'll try that, because then I don't have to adjust anything else. Of course, we have our prerequisite 5-minute shutdown time, so they're really trying to get as much out of Skyrim as they can. Yes, they are. All right, well, thanks for stopping by, Gel Mega. Good luck on your strings. Hopefully, it won't be another 5K before you finish up. All right. Oh, and also, you know what I forgot to do is I forgot to do the formatting stuff. That's on our modal, correct? Yep. Brightness modal. Value.toString, and then formatting, so value formatting. Let's see, is that all I needed to do? Text, I think it is. Yep, okay, that's fair. So let that compile. And what else do I want to do here? Oh, right, the message. But that's part of display options. Till the left image is barely visible. Let's go ahead and apply those changes. Then save. All right. 4th or 5th time's the charm. Go ahead and click through this. Start, options, display, adjust gamma. Okay. Oof. So, yeah, I'm just going to try for 1.00. So we can actually see it change in the menu. That's good. Let's change this to 1.1. And then we're going to go ahead and hit apply. Hit apply. Then for some reason apply does not actually return to the menu. So let's hit back. Okay, then we're going to stop playing. And while we're there, I'm going to figure out why hitting apply does not do what it should do. So display options view. Cancel, clicked on apply, clicked, here we are. So we hit apply, but we don't actually do anything. And then I think what we want to do is say, boop. Oh. Right. Let's go ahead and hit X there, and then we got to do an else statement. So that was the problem. I just commented it out so that when you change your resolution, it has to, of course, redo the window so that it's that resolution. And it's important that when you have that, that you properly prompt the user to say, is this okay for a resolution? And then after 10 seconds, if they don't respond, you should revert back to what it was. And if you don't do that, then it's entirely possible that somehow someone would make their game run at a resolution that just will not work. So that would not be good. So I had to have that check in there. In any case, gotta stretch. Sitting on my computer in a chair talking for 2 hours. All right. So, oh, right. And the other thing I wanted to test now is game development, Unity, text quest, build, text quest, and we want to go to settings. And I think we want you. Display CRUD. So we have a brightness of 1. It didn't save our value. I do save this, right? I do, but I don't update settings. That doesn't seem right. Oh, I guess it's because it's individually done, isn't it? So let's go ahead and say on gamma select. Oh, I am calling update settings. Go to definition, refresh settings. Wait. Refresh display settings. That okay. That's not right. So it should be on save. We are getting gamma. Oh, which I guess is brightness. So for now, I'm actually going to go ahead and go to this definition. Let's rename that to gamma. Let's see. What else needs to happen there? So here's our default settings. Do I specifically require that? Frame rate. There's our gamma. It's going to be 1 by default. Supported refresh rates. Get type. Audio. Get key. Jesus, is this even useful anymore? Oh, it's, I guess it is. Oh, that's right. This is the key binding stuff. Okay, so that's got someplace, but where else does this need to we go. Game settings. There's our video gamma. That's being done in save, so it should be called. Let's find where our gamma is here. Find all references. Okay, so it's saved. Do I do it in load? I do not. Okay, so I need to do that for one. So we're going to go ahead and say gamma is equal to mathf.clamp. So this is all just, so the whole clamping and max and stuff that I do in here is basically a security measure in case someone, for some reason, manually goes into their files and changes things. I need to force them to be within a range that's acceptable. If I don't do that, then you could potentially have like a gamma of 0, which would make everything pitch black. So you couldn't do anything. So let's go ahead and say video info dot get float value settings utility dot video gamma and a default value again of 1. And it's going to be clamped between 0.1 and 2. All right, so that's loading. Is there anything else that I need to do? Refresh display settings. I guess I already sent out a display update, so no. I think so anyway. Let's see here. Graphics, display resolution, display refresh. Height, full screen, gamma. I mean, we set it. Find all reference here. Do we set U as we would expect? Yep, we do. Otherwise, gamma is equal to value, cache gamma. Gamma is equal to value there. I mean, that seems correct. I guess I'll put in a debug to make sure that it's getting called. Gamma changed. So this should hopefully be something a little bit more useful. All right, so let's clear that out. Let's try this. Also go ahead and maximize on play, because why not? Start, let's see. So options, display, adjust gamma. I probably should have that be formatted as 1.00 from the beginning. Let's hit apply. Nothing. Okay. That is... Let's collapse this. All right. So we're going to throw in a debug here to see what option it's passing me. Because apparently that's not doing what I would expect. And we have an eternity. Why does it do this? It's so annoying. I just wish I knew why. All right. Cool. So let's see. We want to turn on. After the freezing for 5 minutes, we have to let it compile. Oi, Unity, come on. Oh. That's actually a good point. Yep, I forgot to remove that. I can remove all these things too. camera and the brightness. All right, that's a good thing. And I guess actually we need to go back to our modal, and let's go to our gamma input here, and we're just going to change this to be 1.00. Save, and disable. Okay, let's try that. So that should stop the annoying, there are multiple audio listeners in the scene. Go ahead and grab this. Type start. Options. Display. Or adjust your screen's gamma settings if things look too dark or too bright. Okay. So let's try this. Hit apply. Still nothing? Wait. Hold. How? How? I have overridden this and nothing has happened. Interesting. Interesting. I wonder why. Okay. Let's dig through. It's our modal stuff, obviously. So let's go to definition. Go to definition. So we need to figure out what we're doing for all of our options. Generate buttons. On button clicked, which should be overridden. And, oh, wait, no. Yes. Let's drag this over here. I said drag this over here. There we go. So brightness modal, on button clicked, it's overridden, but we're not getting anything back? Oh, dang it. Ah! I was stupid again. So I need to say gamma callback is equal to selection callback. Oy. Because sometimes Chris just doesn't know what he's doing. Hello, Scorpio. Welcome back. How are you today? Also, this is interesting. What are you? Why are you giving me a null reference in our door class? I'm curious. If interactions dot. What the frig? Okay. Protected override. Base dot start. Peek this. Okay, so that's all good and fine, but how can interactions be null? Oh. Because I didn't initialize it. That's what happened. That's what happens when you don't initialize your arrays. I suppose I should also just interaction is equal to null, or Alright, finally had time to join a stream. What did you do on Sunday? We didn't do much. It was an art stream, so I did a lot of edge modeling to cover the gaps in the cabin interior, because it's having the same problems that a lot of other levels have that are interiors of buildings, where there are sub-pixel mesh imperfections. So you can occasionally see little like dots of blue from the outside skybox. So I was just modeling to fix those problems, basically. I don't think the format is super great though. I need to come up with a better format, because I don't mind doing art streams, but I don't feel like they're very interesting to watch. Which sounds counterintuitive, because I know there are a lot of artists that stream their stuff. Maybe I should watch them to see what they do. It just seems so boring to me to have to sit there and watch me go, now I need to do this and do this, and we're gonna extrude and extrude and extrude and bridge, and it just seems so boring. But yeah, it was all modeling for the cabin level on Sunday, so you didn't miss much. Although I do need to ask you, is the stream coming in all right? So I've swapped to 720p at 2K bitrate, so it should be a little bit less intensive. But I don't know. Like I can't tell because I wasn't having a problem before. So hopefully it's a little bit better, a little bit easier for you to stream it. Not as much stuttering. Options, display, adjust gamma. Okay, so we're gonna go over to here. So 1.1. Apply, and something happened. Gamma changed. Good. So apply, and let's stop. Okay, so now I'm going to take a look at TextWest settings. Gamma. Oh. Well, I mean, it's close enough, I guess. I wonder if I could round it. That's fine. So the next step, I guess, will be getting our actual gamma on the player's camera to respect those settings. So, oof, that's kind of brutal. Jeez, how do I want to do this? Oh man, that's going to be such a nightmare. All right, let's go up to our. Oh, it might actually be right there. Post process controller. We need to open this up. Oh, and actually, before I forget, let's go ahead and go up here. Get rid of our debugs. Okay, not entirely sure why that had to be there. And I don't think we really need you anymore. Let's go ahead and get rid of all of this fun stuff. Yeah, it's working better. All right, good. Seen any new games recently? Not really. I mean, I guess besides like Doom for the Nintendo Switch, which is such a bizarre partnership. I'm guessing it's also a very deliberate one because, I mean, that was the reaction from pretty much everyone when they announced Doom. It's like, Doom on the Nintendo Switch? That's such a weird concept. I'm sure it'll be fine. I kind of want to get it just to see what it's like, but then it's like, well, I already have Doom on the PC, and that's what it's supposed to be on. Like, it's a PC game through and through. It'd be more for the novelty of having Switch functionality, and I really hope they did something like super silly and hilarious with motion controls or something. I don't know. Yeah, aside from that, I haven't really seen anything. Do I have a Switch? I do have a Switch. It took me a month to find one because the Switch. So the Switch came out in March of this year, and it came out the week I was in California for GDC, and it was infuriating because it's like I can't order it online, and I can't really pre-order it somewhere in California because you never know. So it's like that was infuriating. I eventually did get it by getting up at like 7 a.m. Maybe actually it was 6 a.m. on a Saturday in the cold to just go out to a Toys R Us and find one. And I got one. They had 10. I was 7th in line at freaking like 7 a.m. on a Saturday. It was worth the wait because Zelda was fun. It was very, very fun. But since then, I actually haven't played much. I mean, I basically have Zelda and Mario Kart. And I'm planning on getting Pokken at the end of September. Actually, it's in like 3 days. It's the end of this week. And there are other games that are going to be coming out for it that I'm going to want to get. But I actually haven't really played much of it since Mario Kart came out in August. I want to say. No, it couldn't have been that. No, it was before August. It was like May probably. But it's pretty fun. If you have not had the chance to play one, they're pretty cool. And the portability is actually pretty nice. I have yet to take it on a long trip somewhere, so I'm really looking forward to about a week and a half from now. I'm flying down to Austin for Unite, and I'm gonna have my Switch on the plane. And I don't care what people think because it's a Switch and it's super awesome. Uh, so let's see here. Post process effect enabled. That's effect, get effect. So I guess this is going to have to work with what I want. So I'm going to add a function to my post-process controller. Now the post-process controller is basically a script that I wrote to let me easily access post-process behaviors. But I think I'm going to have to also give it a function that gets called basically every time a level is loaded and anytime specific things happen with settings. So we're going to go ahead and say like public, no, not public actually. Well, we'll say public void refresh effects, I suppose is what I'll call that. And I'm also going to have private void on display refreshed, and also going to need private void start. I have about 275 saved up for one. I want to take it for band competitions. Yeah, that actually probably would be perfect for that. Depending on how your uniform fits one. Although I guess you would probably just take it to your hotel room. Probably not want to take that on the field. Yeah, if I remember correctly, those, well, at least the band uniforms my school had were always really, I wouldn't say tight, like they weren't spandex or anything like that, but they were snug. They were meant to be like not really that loose. Had like overcoats and everything, and they were still pretty tight. In any case, so for this, I'm going to want to say game settings dot on display update plus equals on display refreshed. And then I guess we'll just call, geez, I don't really want to do that. So I guess refresh effects we'll just call on display update or on display refreshed. And this will say if game settings dot gamma, oh come on, gamma is not equal to 1F. So if it's not default settings, then we need to say yep, gotta go all the way up here. Gotta say using colorful. Come back down here. We're gonna say brightness contrast gamma. Gamma is equal to enable effect brightness contrast gamma dot brightness. Okay, and then we're going to say gamma dot gamma is equal to game settings dot gamma. All right, and let's see, what else do I need to do here? If it is one, I probably should disable it. So we'll say else if, I don't remember if I have an effect enabled. I do. And then brightness. Actually, not. I probably can pass just an ID. Yep. Dot brightness. Excuse me. Got the hiccups. We have some pretty sweet uniforms this year. We have what our band director calls new concept uniforms. New concept uniforms. Okay. I have no idea what that means. We're just going to say disable effect and then post-process ID dot brightness. Okay. So that should force everything to actually change dynamically. Now, do I have anything referencing this? It's probably... Oh, cool. It's all static. Okay. Oh, okay. Then I can just do this. Public static void refresh effects instance dot refresh effects. Oh, I have two refresh effects. Apparently. Oh, it's because okay, sorry. Refresh post effect. That's why. Okay, and then in our, let's see, so text quest scene. Okay, so text quest scene loader. There we go. Let me check something real quick. So if you're null, what do you do? Find object type. Okay, so you don't do anything if you're null. So I'm going to, I guess, say, I'm actually going to add a thing here. We're going to say public static bool exists get return instance does not equal null. Okay. And let's see here. So load transition async. We're going to say fade out begin, fade out end, update environment, show load, scene load end. All right. So we're going to say if, well, no, we probably should do it here. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out where the best place to load this will be. I guess it will be here. So if post process controller dot exists, then post process controller dot refresh post effects. And we're also going to go back here, and on start we will refresh. Okay, so we're basically going to have to do similar things when we do anti-aliasing and things like that. So we're going to have private void on graphics refreshed. It's not going to do anything right now, but I might as well go ahead and assign this. So on graphics update, on graphics refreshed. Okay. So, and then of course on graphics refreshed as well, even though nothing's really going to use it right now. So this should let our gamma update with the scene or with the menu. It doesn't address our menu camera stuff. It doesn't address our menu camera problem because all of those menu cameras need to have a post-process effect thing that's listening, but it can't be the main post-process controller. It has to be like a weird different version of it. It can't even be a child of it. It has to be a different thing entirely. Otherwise that'll get cached. So, okay. Let's take a look at this. Okay. Let's play this. We're going to see if it loaded the correct value into our... Oh, crud. Did I forget to do that? Where are you? Open, refresh brightness. Dang it, I did. We gotta stop this. So we gotta set... Stop it. I did. Good. I need to actually refresh my slider and my text input. So I have to say set slider value. Game settings dot gamma. Set slider value. Game settings dot gamma. Cool. Okay, so now it should be a little bit more appropriate. Except we have to wait 5 minutes. Oh man. So, have you heard of any interesting games that you're looking forward to? Or have you just been kind of looking forward to getting a Switch? Although I guess if you're getting a Switch, what game are you going to get with it? Assuming that you only get one. Go ahead and save this and hit play. They're very traditional for the most part, and I've always been in a purple uniform. Like this. Okay, yeah. Pretty straightforward. This year look like... Ah! That... Okay. Huh. Well. Alright then. Well, for game, I'd get Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. That's a good buy. It's really fun with friends. Let's go ahead and do start. Options, display, and just game out. And haha! Yes! Cool. So I'm going to set that back down to 1. Hit apply. Hit apply. Let's go back. We're going to just hit continue here. Uh-oh. That does not instill confidence. I genuinely don't know what was up with that lag. Oh dear. That's not great. Well, in any case, let's go ahead and go to display. I'm going to adjust gamma. I'm going to like crank it to 2, hit apply, and it worked. Let's also hit back. Cool. Yes. Okay, so let's do that again. So I'm going to go ahead and adjust gamma. I'm going to crank it to 2, hit apply. We'll hit apply here, and we'll go back, resume. So now the area is super bright. God, it's like super, it's just really washed out. It's like there's no shadows anymore for the most part. And then we can change it back. So display, adjust gamma. Let's bump that down to 1. Hit apply, back, resume. And there we go. So now everything looks more or less like it should. I probably should have a second light there. So yeah, we have gamma. Go ahead and stop playing. Let's take a look at our text west settings. It should be set to just 1. Sweet. We're supposed to be mountain climbers. Oh, I can see that. Yeah. I can see that looking at that, knowing that. Well, it's probably... Actually, I guess I don't know. You are wearing all black. As I say, it's probably cooler, but if you're wearing all black, I don't know if that would be true. Even if you're not wearing the traditional, like, 10 pounds of gear that normally you have to wear in marching band. Okay, so... Let's see, is there anything else I need to do for that, really? Let's go ahead and grab some screenshots, I guess. Honestly, I did not expect it to take 2.5 hours for me to set this up, but I'm pretty happy with the result, actually. And this is going to be a huge help with people who have darker monitors and when I'm presenting this game, because it's not unusual for me to present on a projector, and projectors just have such dark screens that it's almost impossible to show people some stuff. So having this adjust gamma option will be really nice. So we can get some screenshots. Let's get a picture of that. 1.0. Oh, really? Okay, so I need to change that while we're here. Let's apply. Let's hit apply. Let's go back. Let's continue. So this is it's a little disconcerting. I don't like that I have a lag spike there. I don't know what causes it. The top is skin tight. Is it made of that special material that a lot of sports jerseys are made of that's supposed to like wick sweat away, or is it just like cotton? I would hope it's not cotton, but you never know. Display, let's go ahead and adjust gamma. Let's crank that up to 2. Hit apply, back, resume. Get a screenshot of that. And then let's go to options, display, adjust gamma, set that back to 1, hit apply, back, and another screenshot. And then I think we're good. Although I do need to fix that error real quick. So while I'm here, let's go to TextQuest, assets, screenshots. We're going to dump those into the media folder before they get re-imported by accident. And then we just have to wait until we're old and desiccated from dehydration for Unity to stop playing. Now it's an athletic crop top. Huh. I hate this. I don't know why you do that. It's so weird. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I've ever been in a comfortable marching band outfit. Are they more comfortable than the old traditional uniforms? I guess I would hope, but it's basically impossible to tell because it seems like whoever makes uniforms for marching bands, their number one priority is discomfort. It's lack of pockets and discomfort. All right, so let's go to our gamma modal real quick. Go to our input, and we are going to have a character limit of 4 instead of 1. So we can have 1.00. That's 4 characters. And that would be the cat wanting attention. All right. I think that's probably actually a pretty good place to stop for the night. So we have gamma set up in the game for the main player camera. It's not set up for the menu cameras at all yet, so that's something we're going to have to do probably on Tuesday. Or not Tuesday, today is Tuesday, on Thursday. And we will also, I think we're going to look at anti-aliasing setups on Thursday as well. I would like to try and get an actual anti-aliasing solution implemented, whereas right now there's no anti-aliasing whatsoever. But I would like to be able to support multiple anti-aliasing solutions. Excuse me. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing on Thursday, is anti-aliasing and figuring out a solution to our menu camera problem when it comes to post-processing. There, all of ours are homemade. The overalls are from our old ones, and the crop top to cover the straps and the harnesses made from scratch. Huh. All right. Yeah, I mean, when I was in band, our uniforms were 30 years old, I want to say. Maybe older, actually. They were really old. I think they got new ones shortly after I left, but yeah, 30 years is quite a long time. You could tell some of those were pretty atrocious, pretty dilapidated. In any case, I think that's a good place to stop for the night. We ended on a high note, got all of our, 90% of our gamma correction stuff set up. All that's left is the menu cameras, and I don't anticipate that taking too long or being too hard. So, anyway, as always, I want to thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you all next time.